We're here with Sheriff Daryl Wheeler from Bonner County, and it's a real pleasure to see you again.
It's good to see you too, Don.
I tell you, I enjoyed being in your company. You are a good man, and we had the opportunity in Kootenai County to have a resolution commending you and Representative Matt Shea from Washington and Representative Heather Scott for your stand for the citizens of Bonner County. Even though it was one man, it was actually for all the citizens of Bonner County, and telling the federal government that you shall not come through here. And this made national news, as it should have. So again, thank you for that very much.
You're welcome.
It's an honor to be sitting here with you. Now, I know that there are going to be people who are going to say, well, how do you feel about Burns, Oregon situation? And we just talked about it prior to the camera rolling, and I'd like you to tell people why we're not going to talk about it.
Sure, Don. You know, in any situation where you have loss of life like we have there, and that's a sad situation, and you know, my prayer was that this whole situation would end in a peaceful resolution, and unfortunately it didn't. But I know the end. I think last Wednesday when the last four walked out, I was very thankful that they did that. But you know, before I make any judgments, it's impossible for me without looking at all the facts surrounding, especially the circumstances that happened. I've seen the clips just like everyone else has, but in law enforcement, we look at the totality of circumstances. We look at what was happening in that circumstance, and right now we just have a little glimpse, and I think I'm going to wait to pass judgment and make comments on that until the investigation is over.
And I hope that answers questions, because I think that's a very honest and proper answer. So you're going to be a feature speaker tonight.
Yes.
So you want to give us a little...
Well, I'm actually going to give, I've been asked to give an update on constitutional permitless carry, and I'm going to give an overview of what's happened over the last few years, what's passed in the legislature, and where we're heading this year. And as you know, I'm a great proponent of constitutional permitless carry, and I believe the Second Amendment is our permit to carry concealed. And so I'm just going to kind of give an update and share with them, with the people here in the crowd, what's going on in the state legislature.
I think this will be well received. I'm pleased to hear that. This is hot topic, and let's hope that those down in Boise will understand that it is truly a hot topic.
Yes.
And we had a chance to talk to some folks about what's going on. They have a secret committee that denied exists because it's secret, but we know there's a secret committee that's supposedly talking about this. So are there thoughts that you would encourage or...
Well, I just hope that we all call our representative and tell them that this is what we want in Idaho. You know, we've got through the stages. Last year when House Bill 301 was passed, we had permitless carry out in the county, but not in the city. And also that I'm going to speak about tonight, it actually created a problem with those that there are some that shouldn't be carrying a concealed weapon and bladed weapon. Dangerous weapons, that there's a loophole now for that. And so I'm really asking that the legislature pause, look back, make the right decision, and pass the law that I think that a majority of Idahoans want to see passed.
Excellent. Daryl, thank you.
You bet.
I'm looking forward to that presentation, and good to see you again. I am blessed. We're at the Lincoln Day dinner here for Bonner County, and Donna, you are running for office, so why don't you tell us what you're running for?
Well, I'm running for the commissioner position for District 2 for Boundary County Commissioner.
For Boundary County?
Boundary County.
Okay.
And it's time for we the people to stand up instead of standing back.
Oh, good.
We're the people, we are the people that have to be the ones to take control of our lives and what's going on in the country, in our counties, in our state, and everything else. So
good. And we know that all politics are local. So
well, that's the most important part.
Right.
Yeah.
Good.
You have to be local to make the difference. So.
Okay. How many seats are open this time around?
Well, there's 2.
Okay.
District 2, and then District 3, I think it is.
Okay.
But anyway, yeah, I'm just I'm fed up with the federal government and all their alphabet agencies.
Very good.
What they're doing with Oregon and all over the country and the western states. So we need to take our land back.
Good.
We have to do that because we're a welfare state, and I'm tired of that. And we
Excellent.
can make a difference.
Okay, and that's what we need, is those who are willing to stand up and say, enough's enough.
Enough's enough.
And
Absolutely.
so we need legislators, citizen legislators, like you want to be, to have a backbone and be willing to stand against
Well, I'm not
those
sure if I
winds.
want to, but I feel calling. I have
Well-
to do this for the people.
Well, but
we are the people.
That's exactly right. That's what we need, is somebody who understands that, and you have a servant's heart, and that's what we need in office, is those people who are servants. And good for you.
Well, I've learned that God doesn't take no for an answer.
Well,
and when
there
he
you
directs
go.
you that way, then you have to do what you have to do
There you
to
go.
help the people. And
Good.
that's what I'm all about. I'm a real estate broker, and I sell real estate, and I have wonderful people coming from all over the country that get it. They understand what's happening in the country, and they want to be somewhere where they can be self-sustainable,
Right.
where they can take care of themselves and be around like-minded people.
They understand about the American Redoubt, in other words.
Absolutely.
Good.
Absolutely.
And that's wonderful that you recognize those people coming in and you're there to help them. I think
Oh,
that's
absolutely.
fantastic.
That's kind of like my calling too, but this
Okay.
is kind of a offshoot of that, and I've had wonderful responses. It's only been a week and a half that I decided to do this.
Oh, excellent. Okay.
So-
Very good.
So I'm working on trying to get all my ducks in a row and
Okay.
like that, but it's time. We have to
Okay.
step up, and we have to protect our liberties, our freedom. There's so much going on, and I get angry when I read some of these articles, and
Yes.
I have to kind of keep my anger down and understand that, okay, that's what's going on. What can I do to help?
Very good. Okay. But see, that's what we need, is we need citizens who are seeing what's going on and are willing to say, I need to do something. I can do something. So I applaud you for that. Thank you.
I appreciate that.
I
It's
think
not
that's-
about me, it's about the people.
Well, but it's you that's doing it.
Well,
And
sometimes we have to do what we have to do
that's-
when you feel the calling to
Good.
help our communities. I've got, I'm married, I have, between my husband and I, we have 5 kids, 9 grandkids with another grandchild on the way, and I'm a great-grandmother too.
Oh,
with another
outstanding.
great-granddaughter coming.
Okay.
So, if we don't protect
That's
our
right.
freedoms and liberties for them, who else will?
What kind of world are we leaving for those children?
Exactly.
Right.
I'm not going to be here forever, but I worry about what's going down the road.
Good.
And I know God will take care of us, but you still have to be involved when
That's right.
He calls you.
Right. We can't stand back and let the others take care of it. We have to
Exactly.
be the ones who are doing
We
it.
have to be
So
the ones,
good for you.
And
Thank
I've had
you.
wonderful response. I sent out an email. I've got a Boundary County Politics. I started I'm not really good on Facebook. I look at pictures of my kids and my grandkids. So, but I know how social media is such a big
Exactly.
part, especially in Boundary County when it's so rural.
Right.
That I started Boundary County Politics,
Okay.
and I'm getting so many posts. I'm having trouble keeping up with responding to those, and I think it's great.
Yes.
People are starting to get it. They understand what's happening, and they've had enough.
Good.
So we need to step up and make
Excellent.
that happen.
Okay. Well, let's get you back out there.
Oh, okay.
Sounds like things are happening. Thank you, Donna,
Well, thank
very
you.
much. I appreciate you
All
taking the
right.
time. I'm here with John Green, who is, as you can see, a candidate for sheriff of what county?
Kootenai County.
Kootenai County, all right. And John and I were just talking about a book that John mentioned the other day. Can you zoom in on that? You see that okay?
Absolutely.
John, why don't you tell people why this book is so important, and particularly why this author?
Well, Edwin Vieira is probably the preeminent scholar on constitutional issues regarding money and the militia, among other things. He's argued many cases before the U.S. Supreme Court, and he's really stopped practicing law in the courtroom because he came to realize that the only way we're going to change our country is to force the government to obey the Constitution, and without an organized militia, we will never be able to do that. And so he's written this book explaining the history of militias and basically what they're all about and how one in the modern day might be organized to meet the constitutional requirements as well as the practicalities of life in the 50 states today.
Okay, and you mentioned to me just a minute ago that given today's events, this is even more important. And what were you referring to specifically in that case?
Well, today we lost Justice Antonin Scalia, a great jurist.
Yes.
Certainly preeminent conservative on the Supreme Court. We still have Clarence Thomas. He's always very solidly conservative. The rest of them, even the ones that say they're conservative, don't hold your breath.
Right.
And as a result, I doubt seriously that the Senate will be able to hold out and not confirm somebody that Obama's going to promote for this
You really think
placement. I would like to have hope that they would do the right thing, but I'm not going to hold my
Right.
breath.
Given their history, unfortunately,
Right.
Sadly, I have to agree. Now, you're running for sheriff in Kootenai County, and how would you, as a sheriff, react if you found that Kootenai County there were those who wanted to form a constitutional militia?
Oh, I would be 100% supportive.
Okay.
You know, we have a state militia statute. It just has no substance other than allowing for the creation of the militia and who is a member of the militia. But it needs to have some substance to it. We need to have a hierarchy. And I think one of the things that Dr. Vieira suggests is that probably the logical person to help organize that on a grassroots level would be the local sheriffs.
Okay, good. And Sheriff Daryl Wheeler from Bonner County is going to be here tonight, and Sheriff Wheeler has become nationally famous because of a stand that he took for a veteran, and I'd like your thoughts on that.
Well, I was very happy to see Sheriff Wheeler stand up for this veteran. It was obviously serious overreaching by the federal government. They had no authority to take this man's guns. Not just the veterans now that are returning, that are disabled, that they're trying to say have some. My understanding is they said this particular veteran, because he was on disability, couldn't handle his own affairs, so therefore he shouldn't have firearms. The next step to that would be just saying, and I think we've already seen inklings of this, if you're on Social Security, you can't possess a firearm, which is absolutely ridiculous.
Right. Certainly
violative of the Second Amendment.
And I understand that Senator Crapo is supposed to be here tonight, and I know that he has sponsored a bill. If he's not a sponsor, he's a co-sponsor to deal with that. But that still has to pass through the sausage factories. So in the meantime, we've got to worry about, do we have sheriffs who will stand up for citizens and understand what the Constitution is all about. So,
Sure. The sheriff's job is to protect the lives, liberty, and property of everybody in their county. And it seems that these days, the biggest risk to our life, property, and the pursuit of happiness, and our liberty is the federal government. And
Right.
they're overreaching. They're operating totally outside of the Constitution, absent any constitutional authority in so many areas. President Eisenhower, during his administration, convened a panel to look at the abuse of federal jurisdiction. And I'd recommend people read, it's called Text of the Law on Federal Jurisdiction. It was during the Eisenhower administration.
Okay.
And it very clearly sets out the limits of the jurisdiction of the federal government. They have no police powers in the state. And so this incident we had in Oregon, that was federally owned property. The federal government can own property, but when they do, they just sit in place of any other private property owner. They don't get special ability then to create, to use some police power to create crimes that apply only to that specific area. We've gotten away from that. Lawyers don't understand it. They're not being taught this in law school anymore. And of course, the government's propaganda machine, the mainstream media, thinks that the federal government is all supreme, that they're our central government,
Exactly.
not our general government.
Right. Well, there's been a lot of talk about the supremacy clause, and we know there are some sheriffs in Idaho that seem to think that the federal government trumps local sheriffs. And how do you feel about that?
Well, that should be probably, when you go to sheriff school, that should be probably the first topic that you cover. The supremacy clause only applies to those enumerated powers in the Constitution that the state specifically gave to the federal government. And there are other restrictions about when the supremacy clause takes effect. Probably first and foremost, the rule that the law has to be made by Congress's legislative power, not by some rulemaking agency.
Such as executive.
Yeah, the executive branch, the board,
Right.
the Bureau of Land Management, the Department of Energy, OSHA, Department of Education, you name it. These people have no authority to create police power type rules or laws within the 50 states.
What is it going to take for the American public to understand that and demand that type of action stop, and that the states, make sure that everybody understands, no, the states are the ones who are actually in control, unless it's enumerated in the Constitution. What is it going to take?
I think we're almost there. Despite the best efforts of the media to suppress any thought of the illegal conduct of the government, I think people are really there. The alternative media, thank goodness, has been a great boon to those people that are wanting to protect their constitutional rights.
Good.
They're God-given rights that are enumerated in the Constitution. So I think we're almost there. But what it's going to take to implement us taking back control of the government is to have a constitutional militia in place,
Okay.
an organized militia. Now, there are lots of groups out there that are calling themselves militia. They may very well be unorganized militias, and I understand that their heart's in the right place. A lot of them are doing good work and ready to protect their country, but we need an organized militia.
Right. Excellent. Well, thank you, John.
Thank you, Don.
Appreciate you being here and
Sure.
taking some time with us.
Glad to
Appreciate it
do
very
it.
much. All right.